There's something happening in Lagos right now that has got a lot of people talking, and that is the demolition of houses in different parts of Lagos of recent, and it has been a very, very tragic occurrence, right? Imagine people losing their life savings because of something that they did not even have any idea, one issue or the other, when they bought the house, and now maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, the houses are being demolished, right? It is just so sad and so disappointing. But I just want you guys to know that this is something that, you should not worry too much about, because there are actually ways you can avoid this, right? Which is why we've prepared a 2-hour webinar for you, where we brought myself. I'm a real estate consultant. My name is Awele Onwuegbuzie, the founder of Best State Investments, a real estate brokerage in Lagos, right? And I brought a property surveyor and also a property lawyer, and together we came together to talk about property due diligence, what happened about these property demolitions, and how you can avoid it, so that when you buy a property, you will not run the risk of being a victim of things like that. You will not be a victim of unforeseen circumstances where you'll be dragging the property with a land grabber, or you'll be fighting over government acquisition or anything like that. If you do your due diligence right, you won't have any of these issues. And in this webinar, you're going to learn everything you need to know about doing your due diligence. So don't go anywhere, stay till the end of this video, and you're going to be glad that you did.
So once again, the webinar is all about how to safeguard your real estate investments in Lagos, and we are going to address a range of topics for you here, right? So we'll be talking about understanding the reasons behind the recent property demolitions. We'll be sharing we'll get to learn about expert insights from a property lawyer and surveyor to let you know what really goes on behind the scenes when it comes to property acquisition, when it comes to due diligence. We'll also go over proven strategies for due diligence to avoid getting on the wrong side of the government, and making sure that your investments are safe, your risk is minimized, and you don't end up losing your property after investments. And then we'll talk about strategies to ensure the long-term safety, and also answer general questions that you might have about real estate investments. Okay, so the speakers we have here. So first of all, there's myself. I'm the host of this webinar, and my name is Awele Onwuegbuzie, the founder of Best State Investments, right? We're a real estate brokerage in Lagos. And also we have Mr. Ayobayo Babade. He's the founder of the law firm Auspicious Bloom Legal Practitioners, right? And they're experienced law firm in Lagos. They've been doing property law for years and work with top developers and numerous clients. So when you're talking about experience, he's a man of experience in the real estate industry. And we're very excited to have him here and to share with us, all the solutions to these questions that we've been having. Right. And then we'll also have Mr. Olusola Areo, who is a property surveyor, also very experienced. He has worked with, so many developers in Lagos, from the developers in Lekki, Lekki, different locations, different companies, helping them acquire lands, do their due diligence, and solve a lot of the problems that we're here looking for answer to. So we're also very excited to have him here with us and share from his wealth of experience. So just a little bit about us, the organizers. So we are a real estate agency, a real estate brokerage in Lagos, and one thing about us is that we are very committed to client safety. We're very committed to making sure that our customers' investments are safe. So we go the extra mile to do our due diligence for properties that we sell, which is one thing that makes us stand out, because for us, we verify properties before we sell. We don't just sell properties and then verify later, or just sell because we want to make money. We only put out what we are sure of, right? And we try to, one thing that we do differently, we eliminate bias from this process. by working with surveyors and lawyers who help us do this verification. So we just give these properties to them, they check it out, and if it's okay, then we can recommend them to our client. If it's not, we don't sell it. So yeah, so we are really all about establishing trust with our clients. And what we do real estate advisory, property sales, property title and title verification, and also mortgage facilitation, right? So those are the things that we do, and that's how we help clients in Nigeria and abroad. We've been doing this for a little over 2 years now, and we've made a lot of progress. Right, well over 70 customers in different countries, both home and abroad. More than 15 countries that we've had clients from. I'm done over 1 billion naira in sales, and we look forward to doing more for clients, right? And we are also very big on educating our clients, right? We want people to make informed decisions, which is why we are having this webinar, right? So I'm going to be handing over to our first speaker at this time, our able surveyor, Mr. Olusola Areo, to come and start the session with us. So thank you all, and we look forward to answering all your questions this webinar. Thank you.
Good morning to you, everybody. Good day to you. Please, I want to be sure everybody's hearing me. I just need some persons to say you can hear me before I continue.
Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
All right. Very good. Good morning, everybody, and happy weekend. So I'm very happy to be here because I understand that what would bring anybody here in the first instance is the fact that they take due diligence, knowledge about the right investments, safeguarding investments. They take it seriously, and it's either you are here as an investor, you are here as a salesperson, or whichever, or you are both. So, and it's important that as an investor or as a salesperson, you want to be sure that the investments that you do or the ones that is done through you is safe, and there's no cause for tension and fear. As a salesperson, you will have there's no doubt that people have reached out to you, or your prospect and clients will have pushed the question to you: how safe is my investment? Are you sure I can go ahead? What assurance are you giving me that my investment is safe? Especially prospects or clients that are in diaspora. There's this fear, there's that fear that our investment, is it safe? Do you understand? Especially about all these things that is flying around, videos of the government demolishing houses, removing structures, and all that. And the fear that if I am buying a landed property, what is the assurance that when I'm ready to build, or when I resell to another person, government will not come for the land? Do you understand? So right now, there are so many people out there that are ignorant of these things. And it is important that both the investors, the salesperson, people that are looking into investing in property, landed properties, housing, and all that, everybody is briefed, everybody is in the know. There is no excuse for ignorance. There is no excuse for it. Nobody is going to fall for your excuse. So we are all subject to our decisions, and everybody wants a peace of mind, an investment that is peaceful. There is no issue, and at the end of the day, you get the best, or you make the most of that investment. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my experience and I'm going to be laying out stuffs that you can do, and to give you assurance that your property is safe, that your investment is safe. And I'll be sharing things that you can do to give yourself assurance that you've done your proper due diligence and you are not shaken. You know, the kind of assurance that you can have that I've paid for this land and I'm sure that government is not coming for it. Things that you can do. So I'm going to be sharing those things also. And then I'll not be talking too much though, because I understand that most people here, we have questions. You have things bothering you already, or questions that have been thrown to you by investors, friends, prospects, clients, that you want to get more clarification on. Or as an investor, you might have questions bothering your mind about the ones that you've done already and the one you are about to do. So I'll be taking questions. So I'll be using like maybe 30 minutes to talk on what you can do, how you can safeguard it, the issue that is going on about the demolition, what causes it, and all that. Then I'll take questions. So while I'm going on, take notes. You can write down your questions, and at the end of the teaching, I'll take questions and answer them. I'll take my time to answer all the questions. So I want to thank the management of Best States Investment for giving me this opportunity. I'm not taking it for granted. There are professionals out there who might even be able to explain better, but I'm grateful for this opportunity. All right, so let me start from the latest developments about demolition by the Lagos State government recently. So let me start by explaining this, that according to the Land Use Act, according to the law, the Land Use Act, the governor of a state is the one that is in possession, or that has power over land, is in charge of land, administration of land, and all that. So the governor has right over land, over all the land within the state, not the federal government, the state government. So government has, by default, they have plans for every development coming in within the state. So it is expedient that you know as a person that every land that you see out there, bush, developed, undeveloped, water, natural resources, and all that, there's a plan for it on ground by the government. So, for example, now, a place like Ekpe in Lagos State, or even Badagry in Lagos State, has already been planned by the government. Planning in the sense that there is a design on ground for where will be residential, for where roads and infrastructures will be placed, for where commercial properties will be placed, and all that. So all those things there is a design on ground for it. And when government has a foresight for a kind of project that they want to do in the future, there will have been a place that they've acquired for that purpose. So there is a purpose for every acquisition that they do. So at every point in time, when the budget for the year, or there's need for them to kickstart the project, they go to these places that has been acquired and they start projects on them. For example, the new Lekki Expressway that is currently being constructed, or there were some buildings or some temporary structures that were within the right of way for Lekki Expressway that was demolished. Do you understand? Now, the demolition, the road has been existing, but the right of way, I mean the setback from the road, has always been in place right before those structures came in. When from Sangotedo to Ekpe was still bushy, when they've not even constructed it at all, the setback, the minimum right of way setback from the center of the road, left and right, has already been marked, has already been designed by the government years back, when there was no activity in those areas, when people has not even seen the potential in Ekpe. Do you understand? So right now that the government is coming and they start the construction of the road and all those things, there is no excuse for people saying that their structure was there or whatever. So it means there is something that can be done in order to be able to see this place or things ahead of time and be able to avoid it. So I'm going to be explaining some of those things that you can do in order to avoid all those stories and all those incidents. Okay, for example, the demolition that happened recently in Lagos. Yeah, what happened in that place was that um, there was this there was there was something that was important that the government has marked in that area, that the residents there or the developers or the people that built houses there neglected. So and it could be that they neglected it, or they saw it and overlooked that, oh, maybe government might not be interested, or they thought government will not be coming back, or they thought it was something that is negligible. I don't know, but the fact remains that there was uh, there is a minimum setback that should be for waterways. Waterways is as regards rivers, streams, moats, eh, drainages, and several other water bodies. Do you understand? There is a minimum setback from them. Example also is power lines. Power lines. Now, power lines, they they have their own categories too, based on the tension, based on the capacity of the power lines, 33 kVA, 330, and so on. There is a minimum setback that should be for them. Do you understand? And some of these people, is either they did not consult the right professional, or they did not listen to the professionals as at the point of construction. And for the fact remains that in Nigeria right now, it is the professional people or the government bodies that oversees or that are in charge of these things. Sometimes these bodies are already porous. There are a lot of fake people and corruption everywhere. We cannot deny that. So some of these officials, they take bribes and all that and overlook these things. But the fact remains that those officials cannot always be in that position for forever. You understand? When new persons comes in who don't take those sheets, who don't take those things into account, they will do the right thing. There will always be a time when the people that don't take rubbish will come and do the right thing. Do you understand? A government is not static. Government is dynamic. Another person might come in and decide to work on what the previous government neglects. So it is important that no matter what, whichever way it looks, that it seems maybe the government has overlooked it, or you made your findings to the point where you know that these things is evident, and you feel maybe government might not eventually, and what some of the things that happen is that people around influence these things too, or monile people, or friends around and all that. They'll be like, oh, this thing has been for 20 years, 30 years. Government did not even come here. I assure you that government will come in the next few years. Do you understand? No matter what, setback is setback. Acquisition is acquisition. Committed is committed. Do you understand? You cannot gamble with it. You cannot gamble with it. It is important that when you do your research and find out that there is a comma or there is a problem with a property, do you understand? No matter the kind of structure that is on it, no matter how beautiful the house is, once the land is committed, it is committed. There is no way to paraphrase it. I have come in contact with clients, with people that they will say, Surveyor, but I've paid for this land now. I've built on it, this and that. What do you not think that there's a way we can go about it and just find our way? My brother, committed is committed. In a way to try to find your way around it is getting yourself into much more trouble. And as at the point that maybe you find out that, oh, I've invested here and this is the problem, it's best that you just walk away or try to save what you can and move to another location, and this time learn from it. So now, to avoid such things, it is important that you engage the right professionals, surveyors, lawyers, people that are experienced. Now, I want to be careful about this also. that you understand that as professionals, it is important that the professionals you are engaging are the ones that are experienced and that has the right knowledge about it. Do you understand? Now, within surveyors, there are professional surveyors that their own discipline or their focus as a professional is not on properties. It's not on landed properties. They are more into engineering, hydrography, but they are also land surveyors. Among lawyers also, there's among lawyers also there are lawyers that their attention is not on property, that it is on maybe marital issues. I don't know. Lawyer might be barrister might be able to explain that later. Do you understand that their focus is not there? Not that they are not lawyer, not that they cannot help, or maybe they cannot assist in verification and others, but their focus is not there. That's not what they are dealing with. Do you understand? You have to go to the right channel so that they can advise you on the right things to do. Do you understand? So it is important that before you buy a property, no matter the kind of structure that is there, I've chatted or did a research for somebody before in a particular area on the island, and when I chatted the area, the land was committed to an acquisition, to Lekki acquisition. And the person came back to me that, oh, Surveyor, how can you be saying it's committed? There are several houses there. People are living there, third roads, everything, lights. Do you understand? But the fact is committed. Do you understand? It is committed. I think in the year 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to cut you short, but please, for the sake of our viewers, Can you please explain what a committed land is, and what is a committed land, what's not a committed land, so that people can understand. Thank you.
Okay, so when I mean committed means government has a plan for it. There's a plan designated for that particular area, maybe for commercial purpose, maybe for industrial purpose. There is an infrastructure that the government has planned for it. For example, in Lekki, there are some places after Dangote refinery that right now it is committed, and there are houses on its estate, developers selling land there, that it is committed to steel plants. That is, government has already marked it out, that this particular area, this particular portion has been marked for industrial purpose, not for residence. That is, that place is set aside for people to come and build industrial structures on it. Do you understand? And right now, people are building houses there. I won't lie to you. And when you say it is committed, it's talking about that the area is not for people to build houses or develop. Do you understand? That means the development of that area is solely for the government. And it also means that you cannot process any title on the land. When it is committed, you cannot process you cannot process a title to the name of an individual. It will be to maybe government parastatals or whatever. Do you understand? It will not be for people to own. Do you understand? So I'm trying to break it down to something that you can comprehend, that you can understand. I don't want to be using my surveying terms now. Do you understand? It will have been more clearer to explain in surveying terms. But I'm just trying to explain it in a layman English. Do you understand? So it means that there's a purpose for the land by the government, and it is not for residential or for individuals to own the property. If you are going to own that kind of property, to be that you have an agreement with the government to develop something on it that will be for public interest and not for personal use. Do you understand? So that means the place is committed. It means you cannot process title for an individual on it. The land is designated for something that is for public use, not individual. Do you understand? So that is what it means that the land is committed. Example is places where it has been designated for agricultural purpose, forest reserve, GRA, stuff like that. Do you understand? I know that something might be picturing in your mind like that. So that's what it means when you say the land is committed. All right. So moving on. it is important that when you want to acquire a property, before you buy, before you engage, or before you pay money for a property, house, land, whatever, it is important that you do your research on it. The research should be that from my own hand as a surveyor, you engage a surveyor to check the land, whether the land is committed, it is free from government acquisition. That is, government does not have any interest on the land. There's no interest on the land for public use. Do you understand? That the land is free for people to own the land, to have possession on the land, process title on it. Do you understand? So it means that the land has been marked away from government acquisition, from right of ways, roads, streams, river, ocean, and all that. Then there's considerable setback from any development, any public development along or within that area. Do you understand? So it is important that when you want to acquire, no matter how developed the area is, no matter the kind of house that's been built on it, you just have to check and be sure. Many people fall into these scams. The fact that many people believe that, oh, so far I'm not buying land, I don't need to disturb myself, I don't need to struggle or to research. So far they've built the house. Some people prefer buying houses than land. Why? Because they feel there's no way the house will have been erected and government will come for it. But no, my brothers and sisters, even houses have been demolished. You can see what happened recently. So if you want to buy a house, still take your surveyor to the place. Let them take coordinates. Request for documents on it. Do you understand? Let surveyor or a professional surveyor verify those documents. Request for survey. Request for approval. Documents, contracts, deed of assignments that shows that they are the owner of the land. Do you understand? Let them provide you this document. It is expedient for them to provide it to you because they have to convince you that the property is safe enough. Do you understand? If they cannot provide those documents, then something is fishy. And when they eventually provide the documents, let a professional do the verification. Let the lawyer verify the deed of assignments, any agreements that show, any document that is showing ownership on it. Let the surveyor receive the survey, do findings, and be sure that the land is free from government acquisition, it is not committed, and that the document C/O, whatever that is being claimed to be on the land is actually for the land. Because there are many cases right now in Lagos where developers sell properties that have C/O and they provide document for it, but the C/O is not for that land. Do you understand? But then they will push it out to you as though the land has a C/O, whereas it doesn't have. Do you understand? You have to verify these things. You have to be sure. Do you understand? So it is expedient that if you don't know how to go about these things, engage people that are already into it, realtors, salespeople that are already into it, realtors that are experienced in this, or you go through channels of people you can trust to do the necessary things for you. Do you understand? So it can be avoided. It can be avoided. If you are buying landed properties, then if you are buying landed properties and you have done your research, you've done your due diligence, your lawyer has checked, your surveyor has checked, and they have given you go ahead, then another thing that is important in safeguarding it is to make sure that you process your own documents. I want to assure you that at the point of doing processing of your documents, if there is any other lingering things, if there's any other hidden things that it has been overlooked by a professional, or maybe something during the process of acquiring that land, it will come up. Do you understand? There's no way it will come up, it will pop up. Because why? You cannot process the title on the land to the right stage except the land is free, except there is no issue, there is no comma on the land. Do you understand? Then when you buy landed properties, don't just leave it there, develop it, do something on it, mark your territory, mark your boundary. Do you understand? Even a minimum of corner piece, use it to take possession of the land. It is important. Don't just leave the land or property there, take possession. Do you understand? When you buy building or you buy already existing building or projects or whatever, then go ahead and process your own documents too. Whatever the company or the developer is giving to you, go ahead and do further documentation to make sure that you are safe. Do you understand? it doesn't end at just paying for the land. You have to put this somewhere in your mind always. It doesn't end at just paying for the land. It ends as paying for the land and doing the proper documentation. Do you understand? When you cannot when you can only pay for the land and you cannot pay for documentation, it's as well as just saying you cannot afford it. So it's important that when you pay for the land, pay for the documentation to document it, do all that is necessary, so that at any point, if any issues come, you can always present it. Do you understand? You can always present those documents to fight back and to safeguard your investment. Do you understand? So documentation is also very important. Very, very important. There are companies that are doing the right thing out there. There are companies doing the right thing out there. Do you understand? It just takes doing your search about this, search about that. You finally get the ones that are doing it right, that are doing the right thing. And you'll be able to put your trust there and make sure you are investing the right way. Do you understand? So it's important that you engage these professionals to check. When you buy properties, make sure they verify. If you are buying lagoon front, ocean front, water front, make sure that the land that is being allocated to you, it has the required setback from the ocean, from lagoons. There is a minimum setback that should be. Do you understand? If you are buying properties that is within a CFO, verify the CFO. Verify that the people selling to you are the owners of the CFO. Verify that the CFO that is being sold is for that particular location and not somewhere else. Verify that there is access, road access, whether any government road that is being done there is proper setback from those roads. Verify that the person that is also selling to you has the right to sell. That the person selling to you has the right to sell. There was an issue that came up at Lekki sometimes back, where people, there's some people, some developers were selling properties with a CFO title on that property. Do you understand? At some point, government released a memo that particular CFO has been revoked. That anybody that has bought that property is gone. That those property is gone. That the government has taken possession of it. Why? So what happened there was that the people that were claiming ownership of the CFO were not the right owners of the CFO. The CFO was in the name of a different person entirely. Now somebody else claiming the owner of the ownership of the land has sold it to somebody else, and they were all selling with the title CFO. Do you understand? So many people have bought from them. Do you understand? And the problem was just based on both people selling and the people that bought from them. They are all at fault. Why? Because the people that sold, the person that sold, supposed to verify that he bought from the right owner of the CFO, and the people that bought from them also supposed to verify what they call root title. Something called root title. When we talk about root title, it means that you trace the history of the land, how it has been transferred right from the indigenous owners to the point where you are buying. You have to do the root title search. Do you understand? You have to check how has this land been transferred from the first indigenous owner of the land up to the point where you want to buy. Do you understand? So you have to do that search. If you are not buying from a company that you trust, if you are buying from an individual, somebody, maybe your friend, your family, your uncle or something, or somebody just brought the investment opportunity to you, search the root title. Your lawyer will be able to do this expressly. Your surveyor can also be able to some point, I don't know, but the lawyer is at best at this, through the agreement, the sales contract agreement, how it has been transferred from this person to this person, from this person to this person. Make sure that it flows through the right channel until it reaches you, so that you'll be able to, have some sense of security that you are buying from the right person. Please. So, all in all, in summary, do your research before you gamble into it. It is not about seeing good offer. It is not about seeing discount. It is not about seeing flyer and you feel the price is okay, it's cheap. It is not about seeing promo. It is about seeing that this land is genuine. This land is okay to buy. My professionals have searched and they have found that it is viable product for me to buy. It is safe for me to invest, and I'm putting my money in. Do you understand? When you see that the price of a land is too cheap, is too good to be true, exercise caution. Do your due diligence. Recently, somebody contacted me. He wanted to buy a property in Megamont. She called me and told me that, oh, Surveyor, I have listened to you, and recently you told me that, oh, no matter how good it is, I should check. Somebody is offering me a land in Megamont, and the price is too good, and I feel it's an opportunity for me. Unfortunately, I told her that, unfortunately for her, she was about to make payments before she decided to contact me. When I checked, this person was still on contract with Megamont. This person the land has not been transferred to the person that wants to sell to her. The person has not fully paid for the land, and yet he wants to transfer the ownership of the land. It is not done. The documentation is not right. What if at the point that this person paid for the land, Megamont decides to refund him, or the land is not even available again? Do you understand? A lot can happen within that process. So it's important that you do your research. Just like that, she escaped a lot of story and drama. Just like that. So you cannot undermine the value of engaging the right professionals. Do you understand? Best State Investment does not joke with it. Before they go out to sell any product, search and search. I can remember. I can tell you for free. Almost every week we do search of about 3-4 products. In fact, this month we've done a lot of search for Best State Investment. A lot of search right till now. There was a time that Mr. Awele Emmanuel contacted me. Please, I need a product to sell. I need a product. And we searched and searched and searched. We couldn't get any viable products. And people are selling this land. People are buying them. But then it's not safe. Why? Because upon checking, we find out that government has a purpose for it, and it is not for residential. It is not for use. It is not safe for people to buy, because there is no how, no matter how far. See, 50 years, 100 years, 70 years, no matter what. So far, it has been designed by, because it is not only an individual that is determining whether a land is free or not. It encompasses meetings, decisions, and a lot of engagement of several people, several bodies within the government, the minister for lands, the commissioner, the governor himself. So many people, they have looked carefully into it before they decide that this area is going to be committed to a scheme, to industrial purpose or whatever. So it cannot only because you bought there, that cannot change only because of you. Do you understand? And then I want to also say this, that sometimes you might have fallen into this problem. Maybe your land falls into acquisition unknowingly, mistakenly, or something happened prior to that time, and you found yourself here. Sometimes, not all cases, sometimes it is not the end. There are sometimes that a solution could actually be done. Like something could be done about it, and you might be able to get off it. There are some committed acquisition that you can ratify from the government, that you can change the use, that there are provisions by the government, because government also use this medium to also generate income, revenue for the states. Do you understand? That you might be able to save your house. You understand? So, and these things cannot also go by except you go through the proper channel, you go through professionals. Then lastly, I want to tell you that there is something you can also do to give yourself a kind of peace, or to give yourself a kind of confidence that before you invest in a property, there's something they call official chatting, in which the government themselves are attesting, giving you a written document that this land is free from government acquisition. It is called official chatting. You can do this by either engaging a surveyor to go there, engaging a lawyer to do it for you, or you work directly to the office of the State Surveyor General, the chatting department. So now, the reason why you have to go through a surveyor or a lawyer is to make sure that, because at that point, the survey of the land will be requested from you, or the coordinates, which you need to take to the office of the Surveyor General, the chatting department. They will use these coordinates to chat, prepare the document and send it to you within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 months, a month max. Then the document will be issued to you. You can also attach that as an evidence to your document that at the point of buying that property, the government attested to it that it is free from government acquisition. That also can give you some kind of safe haven that before you invested, it was safe for you to do. So at this point, I want to take questions. Any questions for me? Any question? All right, Funyi, Abi, yeah, I saw Funyi.
Hello.
Thank you very much for the privilege.
You're
So
welcome.
my question is, there was a time I wanted to sell a landed property in Ketu Ekpe, to be specific.
All right.
And when we checked, it's showing that it is under agriculture.
All right.
But the company claimed that it's not a problem, that it will be ratified. And when I did my research,
Okay.
I saw some videos on YouTube where another realtor was talking about the fact that it will be ratified. But then it confused me a whole lot. I didn't, how we sure, because I could not buy the land, So how do you know if it will be ratified? How do we confirm this statement?
Asking questions.
All right. Okay. I'll as you ask, I will answer. All right. You cannot know, and you can know. So, if any company is telling you that the land, you maybe you get to find out that the land is under agri acquisition, and then they are telling you that they are going to eventually ratify it. It's best that you just tell them that you wait. They will tell you that, oh, by the time you'll be coming back and we've done it, the price will increase. Just wait, my dear sister. Wait. Let it be confirmed to you that it has been done. Or you tell them to give you any documents showing that they've started the process. Do you understand? Let them give you any documents showing that they've started the process. There are companies that have done it. I think I have seen a company did this recently, where on their survey, the consent number showing that the use of the land has been changed to a residential use was clearly written on the survey. Do you understand? I think it was Best State Investment sent me that survey recently, where we checked for an estate where we found out that it has been converted from agricultural use to
in Ekpe,
in Ekpe. Yeah,
we had one. So they had finished the process.
They have finished the process. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you can always know. Do you understand? You can always know. So don't gamble on it. There's high tendency that a company might collect your money, give you the land, and at the end of the day, you'll be the one to go and do the work at the end of the day. Do you understand? So it's the decision is yours. The choice is yours. Do you understand? The choice is yours. Whether to trust them or not, it all depends on you. Otherwise, if you are buying at all, just have it at the back of your mind that you will do the process yourself. Do you understand? Just have it that if you will be buying from them at all, just plan it that there is high tendency that you'll be the one to convert your own portion by yourself. So, have I answered your question?
So are you saying it's a safe buy? Because they tried to claim that if it was under a scheme, that's when there's a problem, but that since it's agriculture, it will be ratified. I did not really understand.
Under what scheme?
They were trying to say that if it was under a scheme, that's when there's a problem. But since
of course. So far it is freehold. Agric land is still a good buy. So far it is freehold. To buy agric land is still a good buy. Only that upon when you want to build or develop it, whenever you want to build, you might have a bit of stress getting building approval. And when you want to process your CFO, you will get CFO done on it, but it will be an agric CFO, not residential CFO. Do you understand? The CFO document that will come out will be for agric purpose, not for residential purpose. So upon that stage where you want to do your building approval, you will need to convert to residential. And at that point, you might be spending so much, but it can be done. Do you understand, Fuyi?
Thank you very much, sir.
You're
So, but
welcome.
when is it not a goodbye, please?
When it is not a goodbye is when it is it falls under maybe revocation, maybe some kind of it is committed to another purpose that is not even anything that is not freehold. So far it is not freehold, it is not good. That's just the fact. So far it is not freehold, it's not a goodbye. Do you understand?
What about that forest agric? Can you talk
Now,
a bit?
so now for forestry, now under the agricultural acquisition, there is still forest and there is the part that is not forest under agric acquisition. Now, forest is a no-go area, no matter what, even if it is freehold, forest is a no-go area because government has marked it for forest reserve. So you cannot do anything on it. You cannot ratify, you cannot change the use. Do you understand? So when you are even buying an agric land, you still need to confirm whether it is a portion that is possible for you to change the use or not. You still have to confirm. Your surveyor still needs to confirm that for you before you move on. Do you understand?
Okay, thank you very much. We have to take another person now. So,
right.
Mr. Onos, please, can you go ahead with your question?
Thank you. Hi. Morning. So there was a time, I think last year, where I went to inspect some land, and there was this particular estate, and they said, okay, the estate is sold off
Please, can you
to
speak up,
another
Mr. Nose?
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Okay. I was saying that there was a time around last year where wanted to buy some land, and then there was this particular estate, this particular realtor, and they showed me their land, and then I went to, I think, the land registry bureau at Ikeja, with the survey number to just kind of check, and I was told that, oh, it's under forestry, and so I now went to another real estate another realtor, and he got me, a real estate development company with proper documentation, for the land. But then the thing is, the land that I now ended up buying with the proper documentation was right next to the estates where that was quote unquote under the forestry, the government's forestry jurisdiction. And I'm thinking, if it's within the same area, wouldn't the two, both pieces of land or both areas fall under the same jurisdiction? Because I now wanted to buy the land because it was close so I'm like, if both are around that same area, and they're saying, okay, the land around the area at the federal bureau, the land around the entire area was, for forestry or agriculture, wouldn't it now also affect the land for the company that showed me the correct documents? So, and if one of the companies had the correct documents that said that, okay, this land could actually be purchased and it's not under the government acquisition, then could it be that the other land which I wanted to buy first, which was cheaper, by the way, also was actually okay to buy, but then at the land bureau, because then my former real estate guy told me that sometimes at the land bureau, when you go there, you have to pay to do the search. They tell you that it's under government acquisition, so that you will come back again. So it's like, how do you now navigate this kind of situation where you see that two different companies within the same area are showing two different types of documents?
Okay. If I hear you well, if I heard you well, you said a particular side is free, the other one is committed. Yeah, that thing happens a lot. Do you understand? This on the left side, the land will be free. The other side is committed. It happens a lot. Yeah, that's just how it is because for any land that is committed, there is a boundary. There is a boundary land, and for the portions that are free, there is also a boundary. Do you understand? So that is where coordinates, picking coordinate, the right coordinates, engaging a professional to pick the proper coordinates comes in. Do you understand? So such things happen, and that's why I used to still advise people that when you want to do checks, you want to confirm the status of the land, go through a surveyor. Don't Sometimes going directly might be you might not be able to interpret the information you will receive from the charting department or from the government yourself. You might not be able to interpret it perfectly. But when you do the charting, it is still good that you take the information to a surveyor who will be able to interpret it effectively to you. Effectively, do you understand? Like, he will be able to interpret it well enough to you, give you the background information, all that is lurking inside and all that. Do you understand? A land that's on the right side is agric, the other side is forestry. Do you understand? You will be able to tell you that, okay, 50 meters, 20 meters from this particular point on the estate, don't go there. From this side to this side, that is the part that is free. The surveyor will be able to give you that information, and you'll be able to be abriefed. So, if it now gets to that point where it's showing too much confusion, just apply for the official charting. Do you understand? And that is why it doesn't end at just getting the coordinates. Collect the survey plan of this particular estate. Collect their survey plan so that you'll be able to use the entire boundary to check, not just the coordinates. You check for the entire boundary. You check that the entire boundary is free, not just a portion, not just the front or the back or the side. Do you understand? The entire boundary. Request for their survey. Use the survey plan to check, so that at the points that you check, the place you pick coordinates is free, but upon allocation, when you will be allocated to the part that is not free. Do you understand? So I hope I've answered your question, Mr. Onos.
Yeah, you have. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, any next?
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
Yes. I'd like to find out if one is buying ocean view property right on the beach, and there's a setback of 150 meters. That setback, does it belong to the company or to government? And who can use it?
All right. Okay. If that's the case, so it is two ways. The setback is not per se is not what matters is not whether it belongs to the government or it belongs to the company. Do you understand? The most important thing is that there is a reason why that setback was put in place, and it is for safety purpose. Do you understand? It is for structural safety. A group of bodies have come together to check that, okay, for structures to be effectively done, to guard against erosion, to guard against ocean coastal flooding and all that. Do you understand? That government has already given an approved setback that should be from the ocean before structures are done. Do you understand? So that you will not fall into ocean disasters and all that. Do you understand? So that is the reason why. So it is it's not a question of whether the government owns it or not. So, but then if you want to use that particular portion from within the setback, there must be a permit, a government permit, showing that whatever thing you want to do within that setback is approved. Do you understand? Even though it is your backyard, it is yours. Do you understand? You have access to it, but whatever structure, whatever use you intend for it must be approved by the government. Do you understand? So that you not put people's life at risk, or you not put whatever structure you are building there at risk. Do you understand, man?
Sir, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's
Hello,
have Miss.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah,
good afternoon. My name is Sonny Evanson. I want to say thank you for this privilege. I'm so sorry in case I ask question that will be more like irrelevant, because I joined in the middle of this program. My question is just like, I want to know which land title is the most valuable to buy, and like, you understand, I know Gazette, Freeway, or not, of course, but I don't know which title is the most important to sort for before buying a property.
What? Okay, let me have you. Okay. All right.
Hello?
Hello, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You said which title is the best? Is the
Yes.
best to buy, right?
Yes.
All right. CFO is still the best. CFO is still the best, but then it is the one that is more riskier to buy.
CFO is the more riskier to buy.
Yeah, it's more riskier to buy.
Okay.
Why? Because there are several CFO documents that do you know that only CFO means that there is a yearly rent that you must pay for the government to the government. Do you understand? And so many people own these CFO documents and they are not obeying or they are not following the terms of condition. Do you understand? So second to it is another best option is to buy a freehold land. A freehold land. Do you understand? A freehold land. So and you most likely be seeing freehold properties in rural areas, places that is not designated by the government as
Okay,
urban.
but sorry, please. A freehold is a title on its own, so it's registered and recognized by the government.
No.
Okay.
What freehold means is that government has no interest in the land
On the
yet,
land. Okay.
on the land, and it is free for people to acquire and process their own personal title on it.
Okay.
Do you understand? So it means you can now buy yourself, process the title up to get to CFO.
Okay.
Do you understand? So
I understand.
the only intricacy about CFO is that number one, there could be lingering things, or let me say defects from the person that originally owns the CFO that is oblivious to you, and you might not be able to process a further title on it. Do you understand? And
Okay.
the next title you need to process is the governor's consent, and governor will not give you a consent to transfer except those terms have been done. And upon doing that, if there's any issue with the CFO, upon you processing your own governor's consent and government gets to find out, they can revoke the CFO. All of you are in mess.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand? So
Yes.
it's best that you just buy a freehold land and then you process your own CFO. Yeah, you get just process it to get in your own personal CFO. And then another issue is, the fact that tracing the rightful owner of the CFO is kind of ambiguous. You get it's kind of ambiguous.
Okay.
It's kind of ambiguous, and just needs to be carefully done and all that. But me personally, it's just my own personal thing though. I mostly advise people to buy freehold land to just avoid stories that come with that. Yeah, but
Okay.
then
So that
if
you
you
know
can
you
get
are,
a
you are
CFO,
the one from the
yes, if you can
beginning.
get a CFO, a genuine CFO, go ahead and buy it. It's safe. It's the safest. You get it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think because of time, we're going to have to jump into the second part with our property lawyer, and then we can take more questions at the end of the webinar so that we don't take too much time. And in between, there's some questions that some people have had in between that might not be
Please,
touched.
sorry, Mr. Awele. There's a question here that I feel is very important. That I
Okay.
feel is very important to answer. A question by Olamide Adesoya, where he's saying that how did these people get the survey? Those people that their houses were demolished, how did they get the
Oh,
survey? How did they get the building approval? Sorry, I'll just use like 2-3 minutes and explain. Do you
okay.
understand? Okay, so in a brief answer to that, there are fake documents out there. Do you understand? There are fake documents out there, and some of these people that does these things, they just engage somebody to do it on their behalf, who are ignorant of the fact that the fake could be done. You understand? Do you understand? So there are some documents where you get it will have stamps, have seal, have everything. You see it, it looks attractive until the point at which you now verify. Do you understand? At the point you now verify, I have seen so many registered survey being sent to my DM for verification, and upon checking, Barrister can attest to this. Do you understand? Barrister here can attest to this, that you see register survey, you go to Alausa to check if it was actually registered. The client is claiming that it's a registered copy and all that, and you go there to check, and it's nowhere to be found. Do you understand? There are building approvals that did not follow the proper channel. It's because of the state at which we are in the country, how people can just get things done in a corrupt manner. Do you understand? So that is the reason why some of these people have documents, and it seems as though it's genuine. It's just how porous the country is, how bad the country is. Do you understand? So it can be avoided. Just go through the trusted people. Do you understand? The right professionals. Do you understand? So you can avoid that. So that is the answer to that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes,
So before we go into the second part, I just quickly took some notes because there's some things that might not be addressed from the perspective of a surveyor or a lawyer, which I will just quickly touch on because they are very important. Because now, say your title is okay and everything is okay, there are still some problems that you can encounter from the part of the developer. Especially when you're buying from an estate where you depend on the estate to provide. Yes, the title is okay. Yes, everything is okay, but you still depend on the estate to provide whatever they promised to provide before you make that purchase, right? Another prominent issue is non-delivery in terms of from real estate developers. So some of the things that you need to look out for before you do before you buy from a real estate company, before you buy into an estate, you need to talk to you. The best people that can give you that information is your realtor, right? It's a realtor that can tell you, right, these are the companies that are good, these are the companies that are not good in terms of customer service, in terms of delivery. And it's also important for you to do your own research, right? So what are the kind of things that you can do before you buy from a real estate company, before you buy into an estate, right? So first of all, you can check online and you can check your realtor. You want to hear what other opinions people have on these companies. Go on their Instagram page, check the comment section. Are people saying anything negative? You can check Nairaland. You can check Twitter. You can always search Twitter, this company name, Twitter, that company name. You try and see what people are saying about this company. You might see where one or two customers are saying something about this company. So those are some ways you can do your own research to see, because it is possible for the title and everything to be okay, but the company has terrible customer service, they have poor delivery, and you still have issues. Right? So now some questions that you can ask. You want to know about the history, that's why I always advise, if you want to buy a property, you want to come to people experts who can advise you without bias. Your surveyor, your realtor, your lawyer, they are not tied to any company. They will give you their opinion, right? A developer will always tell you that their property is the best property in the world, which is not always the case. Right, so you want to find out what's the history of this company, right? So you are selling this estate, maybe it's new, right? The ones you have done before, let me see what happened there, right? So this estate that you did, right? When did you launch it? How many years ago has it been, right? And look at the progress now. Has the progress been significant, right? Did they really deliver on their promises? So you want to check the history of a real estate company in terms of their projects before you invest, irrespective of how good the title is. If they don't have a good history of delivery, right? For land, you want to see that they fenced, gated, they cleared the land, right? And maybe put in some basic amenities in a reasonable time, right? You also want to look at delivery. For houses, there are big companies. There's a big company now in Lagos. I won't mention their name. They have over 600 units of houses undelivered. Yes, they have several units that they delivered, but at the same time they have a whole lot that they've not delivered, right? And they have good land titles, everything checks out. But if you buy a house from them, the chances of you getting a house in the next 2 years is very slim, right? So you need to find out the history of their delivery, right? And that's where a realtor can tell you, right? Or if you want to do it yourself, make sure you ask the right questions, right? So delivery of their history. Also allocation, right? If you want to buy land, you want to make sure, especially when you're not buying at the pre-launch stage, people who have bought this land before, did you allocate them, right? And aside and the fact that they've allocated, what documents were they giving on allocation? This is a very, very big issue that I want everybody here to be aware of. as a real estate broker, I will go and represent my client on an allocation, and they're only giving allocation letter. Most clients don't know that, but because I'm there, I get to fight for the client and say, no, this is not what it's supposed to be. So you need to know what documents the company is actually supposed to provide for you, right? They're supposed to give you your allocation letter, your contract of sale signed, fully signed and sealed. They're supposed to give you your deed of assignment, your survey, right? So those are the documents, your invoice, your receipt, all the payments you made. They're supposed to provide, those are the documents they're supposed to provide for you on allocation day. If those documents are not complete, your allocation is not complete. So you have to ensure that you talk to them to give you those complete documents, right? It happens a lot. Most allocations I see, they don't provide complete documents to clients, and many clients don't know. It's at the point when they want to sell the land. I have many people in my DM. You want to sell, you bought land 3 years ago, you want to sell it. Do you have survey? No. Do you have date of assignment? No. And you say you bought land, you can't sell it. Right? Except I want to scam somebody else, but you can't do that. Right? Another thing that you want to do, please make sure that the company's documentation is always ready. You are launching an estate, right? You say, oh, it's pre-launch. You don't have survey. You don't have any document that you can show. The company should be able to provide you document that you can use to investigate, right? Even if the land is free, they should have their own documents that show that they own this property, right? Even if the land is free from your survey, they should have a document that shows that they own it and they have the right to transfer ownership to you, right? Also, read the contract of sale. Very, very important. Many clients don't read contracts, right? Recently, we had a client that that bought a property from us, and we saw that in the contract, before he paid, we saw that in the contract there's a clause that says that if he wants to sell the land, he has to pay the company 2 million naira. So you bought land, it's your own land. And they said that if you want to resell that land in the future, you have to go through them. You can't sell it on your own. And they have to be the ones to do the documentation for your transfer of ownership. And you pay 2 million naira for that, for your own land, right? So I had to write to them and even go to the office and say, no, you can't accept this. You have to remove that clause from the contract. And they were able to remove it. And the clients, that's how we're able to move on with that deal. So you need to read the FAQ, the contract, to make sure that the clauses there are so many hidden clauses in contracts that people don't know. You have to make sure, if you don't have time, give it to your lawyer. Make sure you read things through before you sign, right? Also, refund policy, very important. Many clients don't read. There are some estates that have refund policy of 50%, right? So if for some reason, an emergency, maybe you lost a family member, maybe you want to travel abroad, you really need your money back. They will tell you that you can only get 50% back. So, and you can imagine losing 50%, right? So normally, yes, because of administrative charges, commission, and all of that, you can't really get your full money back. Some percentage will be removed, but that's usually between 20 to 30%, right? Anything above that is on the high side. That's you're right. So you want to make sure that you check the refund policy. I have seen a company that said there's no refund. It was in the contract, but the client did not read. There's no refund. The only way is that you wait for them to resell it for you. They can't give your money back if you want it, right? So these are things that are hidden in contracts you might not know. So you need to check that. That's part of due diligence, right? Also, if you are buying a house, service charge, very important. People buy houses, you don't know how much the service charge is. Only you now move in and they tell you that you pay 3 million, you pay 2 million, you pay 1 million per year, right? Another thing that we've seen that everybody should be aware of, if you're buying a house, you need to find out what the outstanding bills of that house is. Some houses, the landlord is owing light bill of 1 million or 500,000. You don't know. Until you move in, they will now tell you that these are the arrears, right? You might be buying a house, the person there before wasn't paying service charge. They sell it to you, you move in, and then they tell you that, oh, you are expected to pay the basic of the person that sold the house to you. And that person has collected the money, the person has gone, right? So the title of the house is okay, everything is correct, everything is, so that's what I'm telling you, there are things that can still happen if everything. So that for that property, they took a surveyor, they took a lawyer, all the documents were perfect. But the landlord, the owner of the house was owing basic of over 1 million naira. And the new buyer has to pay it because that guy has collected his money and he has gone. Right? So
That's part of due diligence. You need to ask, what's the service charge in this house? Are you owing any outstanding money? Right? You need to find out. Yes, and also double check. Another thing that we've seen, especially for land, which is very deceptive. This is my last point. Real estate companies, they usually do this. So sometimes at the beginning, they might have a boundary of land that is within, that is good, right? The title is okay, it falls, everything is okay. But over time, as they are selling, they now want to acquire more. They might now acquire more land without that the title has not been registered or anything has not been done on it. So you will now find out that at the beginning when you did your search, the land was okay. When they now allocate you, you will now find that they allocated you in a portion of land that the title is not good or falls outside the title or doesn't have any title. So it's also important now, it's something that we now do for our client, which is very sad, but we have to double check. So after allocation, we still do another search on the survey, right? On that portion of land to make sure that what was allocated is within, to check the status of what was allocated, make sure that it's okay. So even after buying land, you still need to cross-check that, what was delivered to you was, you got, what you ordered was what you got, basically, right? You need to do that. So I think that's where I will stop. So I think every other part of due diligence will be covered by our next speaker. So, no further ado, let's give it up for Mr. Ayobayo Babade. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, if you can hear me, you can just say yes or just type yes in the comment section. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so very much. So first, to just thank the management of Best State for inviting me to speak, and then I also want to equally appreciate Surveyor Olusola Areo. He's a very, very lovely surveyor, and we've worked together on a number of transactions, and we thank God for the fact that he is really, really thorough in everything that he does. I really appreciate him. As well, I also thank Awele Onwuegbuzie, is also a very thorough author, fighting for his clients every time, doing check and double checks for his clients. I really, really appreciate. Yeah, I see some people still have some questions. What I can do is, if you have any question, you can put in the chat box, so that we will just pick them all together after this session. So we'll be looking at a number of things and just in general on what one needs to do legally to protect oneself from, or one's property from, having any issues or leading to demolition. So I'll just take so, and how to avoid demolition, I'll just have like 3 major points, and then under them there will be a number of sub points that I'm going to state there. So first, to avoid demolition, the first thing to do is being said almost severally, is to do your due diligence. And so the question now lies that what is due diligence, or where are the places where you can do your due diligence? And one of the first and the most important place to do your due diligence is the office of the Surveyor General of the state. And so sadly, prior to now, there are a number of things that were taken for granted. But I think we're meaning that because everybody knows that, everyone would do what they are meant to do. So you can just get a survey plan, go to the Surveyor's office, do your search, and based on that search, you can go ahead to buy. But sadly, now it's not the case, because we are seeing now again people who would do what they call flying or beacon. So the property in question is not where the property is not what they are putting on the survey plan. So the developer or the estate can know that, this land has issues. They will now look for what land is in the area that is free. They will now put the points on that survey plan. So if you cite the survey plan alone, it will tell you that the land is free, whereas on ground is a different thing entirely. So that's why now you have to take that further step to go to the site, pick points on the site. First of all, confirm if what you have on the site matches what you have in the survey plan. Then you now use the survey plan to now do a search at the land registry, and you saw that the Surveyor General's office to be sure that that place is free. Because a number of things occur at the Surveyor General's office, and then there are a number of results that you can get from doing what we call an LIC or a charting information. Your LIC is your land information certificate, and to tell you a number of things. So one is that it will tell you what the status of the land is. Like so, you said the status of your land can be one of three. It can be one. It can tell you that your land is free from all known government acquisition. If there is a result that comes out on your LIC of a Mosaka Surveillance Office, you are good to go. You can go on. The second one is it can tell you that the land is acquired. So there's something we call general acquisition, and there's some that are special acquisition. If it's a general acquisition, you need to confirm if that land is ratifiable. So it's not all acquisitions that are ratifiable. So there are times that people can buy and say, oh, they ratify. We have to search the general office to confirm if that land is ratifiable. So that's just it. Then the third is to tell you that the land is committed, that it is a specific government project that they want to do on that land, or that land falls within any of the known setbacks, then that land is a no-go area. So when they tell you that the land is committed, it's a no-go area. No matter how they sweet talk you, how they promise you, how they once the land has government commitment on it, it's a no-go area. Don't go near it. Now, one thing there, so there are times when you can have, well, I'm doing survey first because it's super important in land acquisition. Because, so there are times when, because we have seen over and over again where we've seen somebody who has a C of O, and then once C of O is gotten at a very, is gotten very, very, it's been long it has been gotten. So now you may need to recheck even the survey of that C of O to be sure that that land is still free. So, for example, we did a search in early 2022 where the land has a C of O. But by the time it got a C of O in 1986, by the time we did a search on that survey of the C of O, yes, if your land registry search, the C of O is genuine, authentic, original. However, there have been improvements in the what we call the plan for the entire state. So the master plan of the state, yeah. So there's been improvement on the master plan beyond when he bought the land. And so by the time we did a search in 2022, we found out that out of the 2 plots he has on the C of O, 1.5 plot of it fell within acquisition. And so, yes, he has a C of O on it, but based on the improvements in the master plan of the state, that place has been acquired. And so, whoever wants to just buy based on the fact that I did my search at land registry, I have a C of O, you would still have issues. So that's why it's key. If a C of O is gotten within probably 10 to 20 years from when you want to buy, you can also do a search on the survey plan of that C of O at the surveyor's office to find out if there's any recent updates in the composite plan of the state or in the master plan for it to simply buy it. And for example, one practical one is you all be about the Fort Mainland Bridge. You know that so before the Fort Mainland Bridge had a route it was meant to pass, but when it was discovered that about 2,000 houses would have to be demolished for the Fort Mainland Bridge, they had to reroute the Fort Mainland Bridge. So it sounds like just simple English of rerouting the Fort Mainland Bridge. However, what the implication it has is that the lands were formerly free. But when the Fort Mainland Bridge has been rerouted to pass those sides, those lands would now be committed. So yes, they may even have a C of O, but the plan from the state is once they are, even if they demolish those houses, they will give them compensation. And from what was said for the Fort Mainland Bridge now, about 800 houses would have to be demolished for the Fort Mainland Bridge. And so they are currently having meetings to see how to ensure that those people who have titles to their land already would be compensated. So sadly, if they don't have titles to their land and the Fort Mainland Bridge will be routed to pass their side, then sadly they will have no compensation. So that's why it's key to understand how the things are placed. So that so right now we're having what we call the Lagos State Water Plan 2050. Now they're updating it currently to have the 2070 master plan of Lagos State. So there are places where they were once free, they will no longer be free. There are places where when we do those updates, when they say, okay, these areas were formerly agricultural, now there's a need for us to open up these areas for residential because people are now moving there. And all that. So there are a number of things that occurs when they update those master plans. And so that's why it's key to understand how the policies affect a number of things that we do on a day-to-day basis. So that's why the survey plan is key in your due diligence and in your search. The next place you do your search is at the land registry of the state. So at the land registry, you do that when your property has a registered government title. Like the most assuring we all know is the CFO. We also have your governor's consent. If you want to start your registered conveyance, you want to search your land certificate, you want to search your crown grant, you want to search your whatever, any registered government title that you want to search, the place to go to is the land registry of the state where your property is. And what you have to confirm is whether what the person is giving you matches exactly the record you have at the land registry. And so once that is done, then you can safely proceed. But what happens is that we have seen a number of times people do what we call C of O cloning. So and like the Bible says, the act of man is sinful and desperately wicked. So there are a number of things that you see in land transactions. That's why you have to be careful of every step you take, because a number of things will go wrong. So there are times when the CFO would look even more original than the original, whereas it's a cloned CFO. And we've had in the course of practice to see a number of people brandishing CFOs, whereas it's not what the records show it is. So that's why it's key to do your search at the land registry. Even if someone says my land has a CFO, confirm and do your search to be sure that the CFO the person is showing you or brandishing to you is not it's the same thing that is the land registry. Then after you do that, so there are times when if the person who originally owned the property is no longer alive and you want to deal in that property, you need to do what we call a probate registry search. So there are times when so you know each person has a will, letter of administration, and a number of things confirm that registry. Another place that you have to do your search also is what we call the court registry search, to be sure that the property is not a subject of litigation. So yes, there can be a CFO, but the person may be in court. Somebody might be contesting the right of that person to have that CFO. So yes, at the land registry is checked out. At the surveillance office is okay, but there could be a court case on it, and the last thing you want to do is to be entangled in a court battle, because you may have to either rebuy the land, or the new person can say I want to use it for something different, and all the houses there, they have to go. You get, so there are things that we've seen in practice that has occurred, and so even on CFO, there are times when yes, a land may have a CFO, but the people selling the CFO don't have a right to it, or they could say they are in court. So there's a particular case that happened in Lagos a while back, and sometimes I wonder why some of them don't are not that pronounced in the media, where there was a time where somebody got someone had a CFO on a large tract of land, and then the family were contesting the right of the company to own the CFO. And what they did was they started selling the land to people and telling them to build, that if they build in mass, that and why the matter is in court. So they were selling the land to raise money for them to fight the case in court. That's what the family was doing. And those that were buying from it, they were encouraging them to build, that they will stand by them. And so many of them were building, and sadly, the family lost the case in court. And so the new owner said wanted to use it for something else, and so they had to clear all the houses that were on that land. It's a practical case that happened in Lagos. And so those are things that do occur in practice that one has to be careful of all these things that we're saying. So you check the court to be sure that there is no court case involving that property you want to buy, so that you don't buy and think all is well and then just see a court order one day saying you have to vacate your property. So those are things that you take. Then the last place to do a search is what we call the social search. That's just a colloquial name that I call that search. And that's one of the things that Awele said, and Mr. Emmanuel said, that, go to social media, check their Twitter page, ask realtors how they are doing. Sometimes even go to the property itself, ask people around, is this property safe to buy? Can I invest in it? So that you are well grounded, and you can be able to say, okay, this property, I've done all the due diligence on it, and I cannot go ahead to buy. But if I don't want to do all those things, the next thing is this, which is to consult professionals with integrity and obey their advice. So meet the professional integrity and say, okay, yes, help me confirm these things so that I can see, can I safely buy this property, yes or no? Make it that simple. can I buy it? Yes or no? And then so that you're able to know if something that you can go ahead to buy, something that you cannot go ahead to buy. Because what happens is there are times when like Surveyor Areo said, if it's a land surveyor, is a land surveyor that does residential, that does surveying on the field. If it's a lawyer, get a property lawyer or a real estate lawyer. There are lawyers who, for example, they are just human rights, police station, and do police matters and all that, and are successful in their own right. Some lawyers only do corporate law. When it comes to your company registration, your mergers and acquisition, all those things in corporate law, that's their forte. There's some lawyers that is aviation law. So your bag got lost in the airport, you were not treated right in anything relating to aviation, that's their fault. So you need to understand the fault of that lawyer and then go to a lawyer that specializes in real estate, that understands the nitty-gritty, understands the day-to-day, understands the workings in and out of real estate, such that they're able to give you constant real-time advice and updates of what is happening, because things change from time to time. And so lawyers that are on the ground understand, okay, you can do this, you cannot do this. So consult professionals that have integrity and follow their advice. At times people, you tell them this land has ABC, but the client say that, oh no, but how can I still go ahead and buy it? What can I do to? And then you start looking for ways around it, and more often than not, it ends in issues. And then the third thing is to get your right property documents on your property. And what are the property documents? Mr. Awele has mentioned a number of them. The first thing is, for every payment you make for any property, get your purchase receipt. And then so for every installment, every payment, get a receipt to show that I have made this payment towards the purchase of the property in so place, or in so estate, or so company, so that you have your purchase receipt for every installment, every payment you make. Get a receipt of purchase evidencing that transaction. Then the next thing to do once you have made your payment is to get your survey plan. The survey plan shows you the portion of the earth or the portion of that estate that belongs to you. And so that's why it's a key document. In every transaction we do on land, we have to mention the survey plan. It's a very critical, very important document. And so that's why it's key to understand the need for you to do your survey plan. Get your survey plan. Then after that, you now get your deed of assignment, which is your portion, which is your document of transfer from the estate or from the former owner to you, stating that this property now belongs to you. That is, he has transferred all his right in that property to you as the buyer for you to now own that property. So deed of assignment is key. And then you can now, if you also now, as quickly as possible, get a government title on that property. So depending on the status of the land, that will determine what it is. And like I said, let me circle back to my discussion on survey plan and your LIC. So what the LIC will do is to give you what the status of the land is. Second thing LIC will tell you what use the land is approved for. The number of uses, it can either be residential use, it can be for commercial, it can be for industrial, it can be agricultural, or it can be mixed use. So depending on the use the land is approved for, that will determine what you can do on it. So for example, you cannot build a bank, a hotel, or even a church on a land that is approved for residential. Likewise, you can't go and build a housing estate or an house on a land approved for industrial. And there are also restrictions on land approved for agricultural. So you need to understand what you want to do vis-a-vis what use the land is approved for. Then the third thing your LIC will tell you is what you can do to obtain a government. Either you can go and get your CFO directly, or you can get or you can ratify, or is a no-go area. So your LIC will tell you those things. And so as soon as you get your deed of assignment, your survey and your receipt, go and get your government title on it as advised by the surveyor, or as advised by your lawyer or your professional that you consult, so that you can get your government interest on it. And there are things that could occur, but once you have your government document evidencing you as the owner, then you are good. Then if it's the house that is on it, get your approved building plan. So an architect will draw the plan of what it should be, and then you take it to the town planning authority to approve it. Again, and so a number of things are what we'll talk on, some things that happens in practice that now affect some of these things and then now leads to some of the issues that we see. So you should get your approved building plan before you start building. So what the law says is that before you start building on any property, get your approved building plan. You do your drawings, take it to the town planning authority. They will look at it and approve it, or tell you, oh, this place you need to have more setback here. You need to do this, or you cannot build this here. You cannot build that. Or they say, oh, this area we can only approve 2 floors because it's a landing part for a plane. Or this area we cannot. The approval is high rises. So they're able to tell you what you can do or what you can't do on that land. And then once it's approved, you can now go to the site and build it. So by law, again, if you build a house without building approval, the government has a right in law to remove the property. And to shock you, the cost for removing that property is also borne by you. So there was a client of ours where the government removed the property, and the cost for the demolition, they have to pay for it before the government enabled them to continue using that land. So there are things that do occur that one should be aware of in practice, that before building any land, any house, get your approved building plan, and then you can now go ahead and build it. But things occur in practice, and like the surveyor attested to, where things can exchange hands and things do occur. One of such is, for example, when people want to build in contravention of the law. So, for example, developers will say that, oh, I have this piece of land, if I want to remove all the setbacks, the maximum I can do is just 3 units on this property. And so for them to maximize the land, what some of them can do is to now build 4 units, and then they will now go ahead and do what they'll get an as-built approval. What that means is that you are built in contravention of the law, then you will now go there, so you pay fines. So they will approve it as you have built it, but you pay fines and things. So that's what most developers, to maximize the land property they have. That's why you see them building houses that look like they have interesting shapes and interesting looks and interesting room sizes. So they'll just go and do an as-built approval. That provision is there in the law, but many of them overexploit it. But the challenge with that is, if you do an as-built approval on a land that you cannot even build on, then those are when some of the issues occur, that we see some of the things that we see. So that are some of the things that are there. Then I just want to touch on common mistakes that people do. I think Mr. Awele has mentioned a good number of them. One is, a lot of people buy based on emotion than reasoning. So kind of say, oh, this person is my brother's daughter's in-law, or my in-law's friend, or my this one, that one. And so based on emotions, most of them will have even paid and say, okay, my lawyer will contact you. And then by the time I do your research, you're like, oh, this party you ought not to have bought it in the first place. The person has already paid, and then you're now trying to see what can be legally done to save the transaction. So there are things that occur sometimes where people just buy out of trust or buy out of emotions, or contact professionals after they have bought. And in that case, it's often very difficult to do much. You have to start looking for to do a refund and all those things, and that process can be quite a lot. Then some people also say, oh, since people are building around, then they would it's safe to build. That is very untrue. The fact that people are building around does not mean you shouldn't do your due diligence. There are many we've done where the area is completely built up, but the place is committed. There was one we did for someone very painful. He had finished building his house. Was about to even obtain he was about to press his CO when we found out that the area was committed, and you can't even obtain anything from the government in that area. And he's already built his house there, thinking that's where he's going to stay, not knowing that he can't even get any government title on that place in the first place. So those are things that do occur. So because people are building around there, oh, is it safe to build? No, it's not safe to build. Still do your due diligence to confirm. Then, like this, so we also said, if a deal is too good to be true, then most times it's too good to be true. And then what often also comes as a side to those deals is that they'll give a very short time frame to close it. That is only on the ground for 1 week. After 1 week, you would miss it, and then you might request for a document. They'll be delaying you to give documents, and sometimes parents will be praying, oh, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is a very good deal, or a sweet deal. You must not miss it. And some of them will either do a commitment fee or pay up so that they don't lose the deal. And then by the time you do your search and the result comes out, you find out that the property is is not good to do. Most times for you to get an LIC, minimum is about 2 weeks. And then so most times they will give you like a 1 week or a 2 week timeline that if you don't pay within 2 weeks, this bill is gone. And then because of that pressure of time and due diligence, most people fall for it. And then by the time the results comes out, the party is not it's not good to it's not you can't do anything. I think there was one that was so painful to the client wanted to do a surprise for a mom, and they wanted to buy the land. And then the person was telling her, if you don't pay within this week, people are calling me, people are disturbing me for this land, I'm reserving it for you. If you don't pay now, the land is gone. And then out of pressure, she went ahead to pay. Just wait. When the result is out, will determine if you can go or not. Out of pressure, she paid that. Since a lot of people are disturbing this landowner for this property, it means it's a good one. Even if I buy it and I find out that I cannot sell it, and I cannot use it, I can always just resell it. Only for just to come out, it just came out that the land was not good to buy. And so she already told the person, okay, in that case, let me resell it, since you said people are calling, and then we've been on it for 2 years plus, no resale, the land is just not usable to do anything. So those people that put them under pressure and say, oh, you have a 1 week deadline. If we don't make pay within this week, this offer is gone, and all those things. Those short deadlines to also to push people into buying things that they ought not to buy. Then there are many times that many developers, like Mr. Emmanuel said, they abandon many of those things midway. They might start by this process, we are trying to get our CFO for the entire estate. They can even go ahead to get the CFO file number, and they can start processing it. Once they sell out the estate, they abandon it, move to the next project, open a file number, start selling. Once they sell out again, abandon the process. So you have many people who don't follow up on their titles, on what they start to do. And so that's why it's key to look at precedent of the developer before you go ahead to buy, because many of them, they can start and everything looks good at the beginning. When people are selling, when it's looking odd, they'll be following up with their documentation, and then once they sell out, or once people are bought out, they just abandon the process, and those who buy will be angry as to what their eventual status will be on those lands. So people, when developers abandon many things they do midway, so it's key to look for those with credibility along the way. Then we also have so some things that are common things that happen. We also have people who are probably like second or third generation, or third, what I call second, or to use my own colloquial language of describing like second and third leg bad transactions. To somebody and because of mostly there are many transactions that are done on reputation or integrity, where somebody who is very good, or somebody's uncle, somebody's bought a land that was defective and it sells to somebody else, that one sells to somebody else, and everybody, all of them are genuine along the way. So it's not like they intended to defraud, but the first person who sold to the trusted person was the one who sold the terrible or defective land. And so those who bought along the line unknowingly would now be painted as, oh, this person wanted to defraud or scam, not knowing that once somebody sold to the initial person a very defective land and things that. So these are just some of the things that we see in practice and try to see, okay, how can we resolve this issue? How can we get the funds for the client as it is? So these are just some things in general. I think if there's more specific questions, I can be able to narrow down to see those specific issues that need answers to. So that are just some things. Then I know if it's comfortable, I have like some links I think can be useful. One is there's a Lagos State government has a platform where you can do your court search. So if you want to know if a client or if a company or if someone has a matter in court, you can just type in the details on a particular platform online to find out if that company has a case in court, and then you can easily know that. Then there's also the planning regulations for Lagos, so you can know what setbacks to look out for, setback for your setback for high-tension, setback for roads, setbacks for beaches and oceans, and just various setbacks. I'll just probably link in the chat box or in the comment section on where you can get those information, so that you're able to be well guided and just have some preliminary information. Then also the land use charge, just a link to where you can read it. Land use act, I mean, that's like the main law in relation to um, to to land in general in Nigeria as a whole. So there's just a few things there. Then I'm speaking on setbacks and what can be done. There was a question earlier on what you can do within setback. Yes, so for security purposes, you can pretty much like cordon off or protect your setback if it's adjoining probably like adjoining an ocean or adjoining a road, or you can cordon your setback such that for your security and your safety, but you can't put a permanent structure on your setback. So if it's the government approved setback, even no matter if you know there's no you will not be able to get an approval to build within a setback. So if it's a setback, you can get an approval on it, or you should not. Sadly, many things that happen nowadays, and when people can pay a blind eye to what is obvious. So, but you should not get an approved building plan, or you can get an approval to be a permanent structure on a government approved setback. So, but you can just either cordon it off with barbed wire fence or something to just protect yourself if your properties are joining a setback. But you can get an approved, you can get an approval from the government to do a permanent structure on a setback. So just a few points that if you have any questions, I can just pretty much answer.
Can I ask my question?
For that, yeah, sure. So you can ask the question.
Okay, I wanted to ask, if I'm buying a property like an estate, what documentations would I request for when buying? So maybe in the future, if I want to sell, I will know I have the authority to sell.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I already mentioned the documents earlier. So the first thing is your purchase receipts to show that yes, indeed you bought. The second is your survey plan to show what portion of the estate you bought. The third is your deed of assignment to show that indeed the thing transferred the title or the interest they have in that land to you. And then what you can get as extras are a copy of the general title that the estate has. So if the estate has probably a CFO or general global CFO, you can get a copy, or what we call a certified true copy of the general title that estate has. And if it's a building on it, you get a copy of the approved building plan of that building. So these are just the 4 to 5 titles or documents you should have on your property. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Sorry, sir. Just also one more thing. So, like, what titles would you say? You were saying something about is a registered title. You are mentioning them, but what are those registered titles that, if, for example, they are to acquire your land, you will be qualified for compensation?
Yeah. So what you need, like I said, for compensation is to get a government issued title. The most popular one is the CFO, and then the sister of that or a child of that called the governor's consent. That's like the most popular, and that's the one that most people know. That's the one that most banks use to approve your loans. That's like the most popular title, but there are still a lot more other titles to learn that do exist and they're equally good. One that we mentioned earlier was what we call it registered conveyance. And there are many others that it's a whole gamut of things that if you want to go into that. But one thing is that's why we always advise to meet professionals, because even the CFO that I said is the most assuring, most popular, and most of everything. The Surveyor pointed out some issues that CFO has, and even in practice, we are seeing many things that do occur. One, for example, that also occurs, for example, there are many CFOs that get revoked. And for example, if you look at the news, the new FCT minister in Abuja, Wike, recently revoked over 200 titles in Abuja. So yes, those people are saying their CFO can be in their cupboard, in their house, in their bank, or wherever their CFO is, but the FCT minister has revoked those CFOs. So they practically do not have any right to those land anymore. But somebody can buy based on that CFO, knowing it has been revoked. So that's why it's good to contact the professional. So yes, they can be. So my point is that if the CFO is that has those issues, how much more these other titles that people don't know. So like you have land certificates, you have crown grant, you have registered conveyance, you have so many other titles to learn. But it's a real estate lawyer that can help you know, is this property good to buy or not? that is the main question that I wanted to seek answer to. And once your professional says yes, you can go ahead, then you can go ahead. But if they say no, then by all means don't go ahead with it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so how, Mr. Emmanuel, how do we do the question and answer? Should we just call them to speak, or if you look at the chat box? I'm waiting for people to join more so that I can send the links I promised to the chat. Yeah.
Okay, so we can do both. So let's take some. We have some questions in the comments for some. Although I think we've lost some of those questions when the webinar restarted.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody's asking, is registered conveyance a land title?
Okay, yeah, thank you. I'll just take them. I'm looking the chat now, so I'll just be taking them one by one. So if you have questions, you can just go to the chat box so that we can just take them, and then after that we can just invite you to speak. Yeah. So quickly now, I see you're asking if registered conveyance is a land title. Yes, it is. It's a land title. What registered conveyance means that so those who owned rights in land before the Land Use Act came into being. Those people, what they were using to transfer title in land then was called a deed of conveyance or conveyancing deed. That was the document people were using to transfer title to land. And so those that registered those interests in land, what they have is a registered conveyance. And so yes, that document, it's a good document that one can use to transfer interest in land. So registered conveyance is a good title to land. But like I said, you need to do your search. Yeah, first, because most of those titles were gotten before 1978. If it's in Lagos, for example, many things may have occurred that those titles may have been, those lands areas may have been acquired, or government may have had interest there. So yes, it's a good title in land. Do your search to find out if there is no current government interest in that land, and then two, find out if the document the person is giving you is really authentic. Because of the time lag, many people who own those titles may not be alive anymore. So you need to look at other searches like a registry search. The person talking to you, is it the rightful person for the family to sell to you? So a number of things that you need to look at when you're dealing with registered conveyance. But the best is to consult a professional. But yes, it's a good title to land, but you have to do a number of other findings before you invest or you buy in such a title to land. And Joseph is asking, I'm buying from a family, what documents do I need to request for? So one of the documents most families have is a survey plan. Most families have just a general survey, and they have like, they can give a receipt and a survey or just a survey plan. So that's what most families have. Like the surveyor said, what you do with that survey is to do, like I said, your survey search, take it to the surveyor's office, get your LIC that will tell you if the land is acquired, free, or committed. Two, if the land, what use that land is for. Is it agricultural? Is it residential? Is it commercial? Is it industrial? Is it mixed use? What use? And three, what you can do. And this land you can ratify. This land you can get a CO approved directly. So once you have that LIC, then you can now decide whether or not you want to buy. But for land, if you are buying from families, you need to do much more things. Your biggest search to do is your social search. Are you buying from the right family members? Is there this within the family? Is there a court case on that land? So there's a number of search you have to do buying from the family beyond just documents. Because what document they mostly have is just the survey plan, and most times there could be dispute among the children as to who can sell, who should sell, and all that thing. So there's a lot of cases when you buy from the family. The documents they have most times is survey plan. You can do the survey search, but get the professional to do much more than just that initial search at the land registry. In Modupe Ogundeji, she's asking, what of companies who sell land that says awaiting excision? So excision is also a very interesting title to land as well. So basically, for those who don't know, excision is a title to land that you get. So what happens is when the government acquires a land in a particular area, and they want to give back a portion to the land owning families in that area, what the government does is to excise that land to them. What happens is that the family would apply to the land allocation committee for them to do the excision and then excise it to them. So excision is a very interesting title. So before 2015, excision was a very good was a excision. I would think excision another, because before 2015 the excision time span was averagely between 6 months to 2 years before 2015. And then, but since 2015, or since 2015, there's been quite a lot around excision as a title and what one could do with excision, because sadly throughout Ambody's tenure, excisions were hardly got approved. Olu's first time in office, excision hardly got approved, but we are not sure when any excision will be approved. So many people, so what happened, there were those families that were pressing the excision, they didn't have the money to follow up with the excision, and so they sold it to people who had money to follow up with it. So they sold it for them very cheap, meaning that they will follow up the excision till it comes out on behalf of the family. But right now, because of many of them are not out, so those parties that are sadly still hanging till now. So the ones that one can really go for are those that are already approved. If the excision is already out and gazetted, you can go ahead and purchase it. But those ones that are waiting, because nobody knows when someone would sign a excision. Since the agreement office, we've been asking him at many forums to know when excision will be out, but there's not been a definite position on that. In Lagos State, for example, Redan Lagos has been talking with the governor since 2020 to see how they can get excision for many of those lands, but till now we've not gotten any concrete information as to what the mind of the government is on excision. So the simple thing is excision is very shaky. So except your risk appetite is very high, excision is not a title that you should go near unless it is already gazetted, already approved, and then you have seen the gazette to set it. They said this was excision gazetted, they can go ahead and buy. But if it's still awaiting, or it's still in process, or is not yet out, or just ask a file number, my advice is, except your risk appetite is very high, don't go near any extent that is not yet out. That's just my own personal advice. Edward Mata is asking, going to ask the General of the state, does it require a fee or is it free to do? Nothing, hardly is anything that goes free. So yes, you would pay, and it takes a while. So what you would do is to get your LIC, you go with a copy of the survey plan, a copy of your proof of lodgement of that survey plan, and you go with an application letter for land information certificate. So with those 3 documents, you will go there and then you will pay. The government fees, I think, are either 10 or 20,000 for the government fees, and they will give you an official letter from the Surveyor General's office stating those things I mentioned: what is the land free or not, what use is approved for, and what you can do to get your government title on it. So they do that for you, but you pay government fees. And then sadly, the civil servant there is Nigeria. You have to also pay other fees to make sure that your document come out and your file doesn't just stay there, nobody does anything to you or answer you. So those are things you have to note when you are doing your Surveyor General's office dealings. Monipo Gundeji is asking, when will the awaiting excision land be ratified so that people who bought can work on, especially the Lekki land? Like I said, no one knows yet. So that's any meeting between Redan and the governor always asks that discussion, and nobody knows when those lands will come out. Nobody knows. Is CFO land the only land that government give compensation for? So if my land is not of assignment and registered, so it doesn't mean I'll be compensated if they have to build on my land. So you need to have an approved government title on your land to get compensation. CFO is the most popular, or the only thing you want to do now. Since it's post 1978, we most likely get a CFO. And yes, you have to have a CFO to get compensation on your land. If you don't have CFO, so if, for example, you bought a land from a family gave you the assignment, and then you built on the land, and then if, for example, now in Lagos State, before you are given an approved building plan, you need to show that you have either fully done your title to yourself or you are in the process. So now they actually give you a building plan approval, or the rule is that you don't get a building plan approval unless you have either gotten the land title in your name or you are in the process. So you must show your file number, you must show that you have paid your government fees for your CFO or for your consent before they'll give an approved building plan in your name. That is the normal process. But it is Lagos, it's Nigeria, things happen. Again, but the normal process is you should get your either your CFO already or your land title should be in the process in your name before you get your building plan approval. So once you have a building plan approval and you have your title in your name, if anything happens to your property, they will compensate you. So because one of the things that they do, so when they want to, for example, like I explained for the bridge, for the 4th Mainland Bridge that is being done, the main part was meant to go on about 2,000 houses would have to be demolished. So they had to route it to another part where 800 houses will be demolished. So, but what the government also does to minimize the cost of the project is you look at an area where where they have the least registration of title, or look at land registry. That's why we always say that they have a lot of meetings. You look at land registry, because of the office, look at people, how many houses here have registered title one, have approved building plan. Because they know that if there is no approved building plan and no registered title, we can demolish these houses and there will be no compensation. So the project cost will be reduced. But if these people have, if this part want to go, when people have CFO building plan, we will pay more for compensation. So the project cost will be more. So to reduce project cost, they most likely go to a part where they know that most people there don't have building plan approval or they don't have their titles yet, and then they can demolish and don't be compensation. So that's why it's key at the earliest time you buy, get your government title on your land in your name, so that if anything occurs, you are able to fight and then get your compensation or what you are entitled to. I'm seeing Godswill Okun is asking, please sir, I bought a piece of land 2 years ago, but later I heard the land was marked for road expansion, which puts my land at risk. I've completed the first decking recently, but now after listening to you, I'm afraid to continue. Even though my registered surveyor says government has abandoned the project, it looks like from observation and other surveyors I called to check, should I proceed to build or sell it and get my money back to avoid losing it all? So it depends. Like I said, the best thing is there are a number of things to be done before you to advise whether to go on or not to go on. And what you have to do is to, with the fact that government has abandoned a project. So I'm giving general advice now. Until I see the documents and do the checks before I can give you a specific advice on what to do. But based on the facts, I'm giving general advice. So the fact that government has abandoned the project doesn't mean that they cannot continue in the future. And so the only thing you need to understand is there an update in the master plan of the state such that that project is not going to go on anymore. So if that, for example, like I told you, I keep using that like the most one example that many people can relate to, which is the 4th Mainland Bridge. The rerouting, for example, now, so if you had a property on a place where it was routed before, and now routed somewhere else, now you know that your property in that place is safe. But if, for example, just that government abandoned it, any governor can come tomorrow and start it. By that time, it may be very elderly. You may not be able to do much again, and then that will be a worse time for that property to be demolished. So based on this fact, it's best to speak with the professionals, your surveyor, and to find out what the status of that land is, and then before you are able to decide to go on or not to go on with the project. So that's just it. So you consult a professional to look through it with the documents you have, and then they can advise appropriately. Faith Franklin is asking, buying a house, what are the documents to look out for from the sellers? I see companies selling off-plan house with survey or deed. Is it safe to buy? It look like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but those are the things to notice. First and most important, your professionals will determine what it is. So yes, the company can be showing you a deed and a survey, but there are other things that a lawyer can look through to advise whether that is good or bad. So for example, yes, the company has a deed, but in that deed, they have quoted the global CFO of the entire area upon which the deed they are showing you was gotten from. The deed may have a page they call the government consent page, which may have been obtained. So depending on the fact of that particular case, that will determine if one can say yes, it's good to buy or it's not good to buy. So, for example, there are many off-plan transactions that have gone very well. There are many off-plan transactions that has gone very sour. So you need to. So there are many facts, like Mr. Emmanuel said, you have to look at what's the reputation of the company involved. Some companies, after they sell off-plan, they go off, and you don't see them anymore. Some companies deliver on their promises. So you have to. There are a number of factors that determine whether or not you can go there. So until the professional sees all the documents, he cannot advise you on what particular steps to take for whether or not you should go ahead and buy. So your survey based on what those deeds say and what are there, that will determine if you can go ahead and buy off plan. You also have to do your social search as well to find out if the developer is credible enough, if he delivers on his project, so that you can know if you should go ahead or not. Abdulhamid Adekunle is saying, at what stage of transaction does one get LIC at the edges of it? My advice is, before you start anything at all, get your LIC. Even before you buy, get your LIC so that you are sure of what it is. The LIC, it's a what I can do is, after this meeting, I want to remind me, I will send you a copy of what it looks like in the group chat for this program, so that you can see what the LIC looks like. It's just a document that will show you to show you whether the land is acquired free or committed, to show you what use it is approved for, and what you can do to perfect it. So that once you see those three information, which are key, you can say, can I go ahead or not? The LIC can say this land is committed, and you can't do anything. You don't, and that's the end. If this land is free, is residential, you can get your CFO. So once you have that document from the government, you can go ahead and buy and do other things, and then you know that the transaction is safe and you don't have any issues. Then Lapis is asking, Oladipo is asking, who gives LIC? It is Surveyor General of the state that issues the land information certificate, LIC. One Life Properties is asking, are there properties in Ekpe with CFO already, or is everything freehold and registered survey? Yes, there are many properties in Ekpe that are CFO. There are many that are freehold. There are many that are only just survey. So it depends on the particular land in question. And the prices to vary. Those with CFO are super. I saw one a while back. He had a CFO. It was 15 million in Ekpe per plot. Yes, there are properties in Ekpe with CFO. There are some with freehold from the families. We can see for varying prices, and then there are some that are just registered survey. But like we say, you have to be very careful of a number of those things, because there are many properties that are already, but they'll be saying Ekpe. And then so you also have to be careful of what you do or what you buy as it is. I think I'm already
yeah, so please,
okay.
Speaking on the CFO, can you please talk about the difference between
CFO and CFO in view? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, difference between CFO and what?
Difference between CFO and CFO in view, because in Ekpe now, a lot of companies say CFO in view, right?
Oh, CFO in
view. CFO in view. And people take it as it is CFO property. So what does a CFO, can you just quickly share that? What does a CFO in view property mean? And, can it be taken as a CFO? Because that's what most clients do. They just say, CFO in view, that's CFO, and they just jump on it, right? So what does CFO in view properly? What's the reality of the CFO in view? What are the things to note as regards if they will actually do the CFO? And, what clients just need to know about that in general?
Okay, yeah. Yes, CFO in view simply means that the CFO has not been gotten, but it's currently being processed. And it's tricky. So, like I said, a number of things you have to look at. It's an holistic viewpoint. So what I do is I try to give what I call practical, usable knowledge, and even for my clients, so that we look at it in a totality of it. So, for example, you have developer A who has a number of estates, one, and then two, who has good reputation, good credibility in the industry, and is CFO. He probably has a letter of allocation already from the Lagos government and expressing his CFO on their estate. And developer B, who is notorious for not delivering on his estate, he doesn't have any letter of allocation. He tells you I have CFO in view. you advise your client which one to go for. So you look at the totality of the fact to say, oh, based on this person's credibility, you may purchase based on the fact that XYZ, but when you're purchasing, make sure you have this there so that you are protected. Why is because like we note, once it's still in view, the prices will be relatively lower. Once CFO comes out, the prices go higher, and then those things are things that are playing into advice. But CFO in view means it's still in process, it's not yet out. And then so you cannot, most times you can have a file number and say CFO in view. Like I told you, there are developers who would abandon documents after they have sold at the estate, and then those who buy are hanging. So you have to be super careful. Unless the CFO is out, when we can do a search and have a copy of that CFO, CTC of that CFO. CTC means certified true copy of that CFO. That's when you can say the CFO. When you say it's still in view, that means they don't have it yet and it's still in process. And so sadly, many people do a lot of things. I know many people who will just abandon it. Once they see that the asset is sold out, they abandon it and they move on to something else. And so those that buy, thinking that they will have a CFO, may end up not having anything. And they have to now start meeting the family to see how they can get their own deed that was signed, their own CFO. And it can be a lot in that place. So until the CFO is out, is not yet out. That's the summary of what I'm trying to say. Yeah, is that clear, sir?
Yeah, that's clear.
Okay.
Another question that a lot of people would have, especially clients and realtors, is that I'm just asking so that everybody can learn from your response. Is that government allocation now? Government allocation and CFO. What is government allocation, CFO? People get confused about that. What's the relationship between the two?
Okay, yeah. So government allocation, it's not necessarily a title, just a document that the government gives an individual, stating that you have been allocated a piece of land. There are still steps the person needs to take before they obtain CFO. Now, after they give an allocation letter, for example, for either 10 hectares or whatever, they will now give them a payment advice of what they are to pay. When they have to pay for this, so after they make the payment, they have to also follow up until their CFO is out. So it's a process between when the allocation letter is given and when the CFO comes out. So it's a process. I know many people are saying just allocation letter, or they'll say allocation letter / CFO in view and things like that. One has to be super careful, do your findings so that you don't get angry. Again, because unless the developer is highly credible, is a very big risk. Because like I said, sadly, it's becoming too often that people start well and everything looks good, and after they sell out the estate, they just go quiet. Then they move to the next big estate they are doing, do the same thing. After they sell out, they go quiet on that estate, go to the next estate again, and then they're having abandoned projects here and there in terms of titles. That's why it's key to ensure that one get, if the CFO is already out, then you know that you're sure you can buy, do your consent, get your title to yourself in your name, and then you're able to be safe and not sorry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So I hope anybody that was curious about that has gotten clarity. So there are some people raising their hand. Abdulhamid Adekunle.
Yeah, I see there's quite some questions.
Well,
okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just want to. It's not like I know anything, but I just can, because I'm a realtor, concerning the CFO in view stuff. The CFO in view stuff, please, it's not even a title yet. Like just like you said, sir, it's not a title in any way. It's the marketing strategies that realtors, that companies use. Some company might not even file anything in the government this thing to document CFO. So they are not viewing anything. They've not even make any documentation at all. There's no documentation at all. So it's also bounds that you make your own verification, just like the man said. Make your own verification, because many properties, CFO in view, they are not viewing anything. They've not even go through to document anything. Just look for the title, maybe get set, all the good title, then start the processing. But in view, you might just put your money there, and at the end of the day, they are not doing anything. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and I was even thinking of those. Some companies might even go a step further to make it appear as though they have done something. So that's what I'm saying. There are some that they will even give you the file number, the CFO file number at land. So you see, oh, can there be a file number now? They will soon number. But those that didn't even do anything at all, you just know that they're just trying to market people to buy. So I'm like, even if it appears as if they are close to, most of them they just end up giving them. So it's that, but that's what we see. So we have to be very, very careful in property
Yeah, and I think
transactions.
lastly for that
We still have some
CFO,
questions.
it has
I don't know
already
how
for
Mr. Emmanuel wants us to do the question. Yeah, the guidance are
okay, we'll
properly.
just take
Oh,
a
yes.
few more and then before we close. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so I think just lastly for that CFO review, even as a realtor, what I usually advise clients is that just assume that you'll be the one to be prepared to be the one to perfect the title yourself. So your one is just to ensure that the land itself, at least before you can do your you must have registered survey, you must have a deed. You can't just fly today. You just be sure that the document of the estate is okay. That even if you wanted to perfect it yourself, you can go ahead. And then if the company ends up doing it by themselves, fantastic. If they don't, you can do it yourself. So you are not, losing, right? So I think that's just a one way to think about it before going into such a property.
Yes.
So
Good
how do you
afternoon.
do the
I have a
question? So
question.
if I written their answers, there's no question in the chat box. Mr. Emmanuel, how do you want us to go about the questions, the remaining questions, so that
Okay, someone is asking, let's quickly take the people raising their hands because
okay,
it's been on the chat. So let's
okay,
take Abdurrahman Ibrahim.
yeah, Abdurrahman Ibrahim.
If Abdurrahman is not around, let's quickly go to Olaleko.
I'm around. Hello.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you,
Hello.
Abdurrahman. Yeah,
Yeah.
where are you?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for the question, and I'll be following up since the beginning. So I think it's quite. In fact, this training now is something that we're supposed to pay to me. But we appreciate Mr. Emmanuel for making it free for us, because those of us who already have the knowledge also impart more. But the question on a quick one, the question I want to ask is this, please. I have raised hand in the first surveyor that talked, so but I was not permitted to ask a question. But let me still ask a question. Most land in Ekpe, particularly Ketu Ekpe, is meant for agriculture purpose. But is it still advisable for one to acquire that land, maybe for personal use or whatever, for a residential or whatever? Please, that is just the question I want to ask. And number two, somebody also asked a question on the chat box now, which I also believe is going to be helpful to us. That how does one know whether there is a court case in a property or not? So,
Okay. Yeah, so I'll take both. Some of the let me just drop the links I promised. I think we are quite there are quite a number of us that are already in now. So first one is to check if there's a court case. There's a link there, Lagos Judiciary, lagosjudiciary.gov. Just type in on the proper parties, type in the company name, either defendant or plaintiff, and then once you do that, you're able to see if the number of court cases they have, and then you cannot check each of them to know where it's located and all that. But more importantly, the best advice is, because it's quite if you understand the system, you can actually navigate it. Just get a lawyer to help you do what we call a court registry search, and then we can find out to know if there is a court case on that property or not. But for the website check, just for just general search, so that you will know if there are a number of court cases there. But it's best to just get a lawyer to do a court registry search to find out if there is a court case on that property. Then the first question was regarding can you just give me the key point again on the first question?
Agricultural land.
The first question is
agriculture. Yeah, fine, I remember now. Yeah, so for agricultural land, my own personal advice is, for agricultural land, it's very dicey if you want to use it for residential for a number of things. So one is, even if you, unless and until the use is changed, and so they change it from time to time, but unless and until it is changed, or unless and until they've applied and approved for that change, it's difficult to do anything residential on agricultural land. Because one is, even if you get a CFO, like the surveyor said, they will give you an agricultural CFO. And if your CFO is an agri CFO, you can only, and you want to build, you can only build a property that is agri-related. So what happens is that, so for example, and then you need to be doing things here and there that are not altogether straightforward. How do I mean? So for example, with an agri CFO, if you want to get your building plan approval, what you will be approved to build in court will be called a farmhouse and not your house that you're living in. So if, for example, you buy an agriculture and you want to do a plot auditorium, for example, you will call it a warehouse for your agri. So it's going to be very interesting and all that. So that's why it won't be altogether straightforward, because it is intended for agri, and everything that they will approve it for would have to be for agricultural uses and purposes. And so that's why it's not advisable, unless and until that the use has been changed. Then you can now use it for whatever purpose, or if you buy and you now apply for change of use, and that's a long, expensive process. There are some, I know they've been on a change of use from residential to commercial. It's been 2 years plus, it's not yet been approved. And so it's a lot there. So that's why it's not altogether straightforward as it is. And someone will just buy it and then you start doing things here and there, and it's not altogether straightforward. So that's just my own personal advice on that question. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. How do we arrange it? So I say Oka for Savior. Oka for Savior. Oka for Savior. You can ask your question.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning.
It's actually a wonderful opportunity to be part of this program, but I have this question to ask. You've already mentioned court registry search and land registry search and surveyor's office.
Mm-hmm.
How do you then know if a property is under mortgage? Because I know buying a property under mortgage is also dangerous.
Yeah.
I want to know how to go about doing that particular search. And secondly, if somebody says to you that a property has this title gazette, what does it entirely mean? What does it entirely mean? Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so very good question. So the first one on mortgage. So that's one of the results you would see in your land registry search. So when you do a search at the land registry, first of all, for a property to be used for security for a loan, it has to be a registered government interest on it. So either it has most times it's a CFO it will have, or a governor's consent. And once the owner of the CFO or the consent does the mortgage, the deed of mortgage will be registered against that property at the land registry. And then so once you do your search at the land registry, you would see the mortgage there against that property, and then you would know what from the land registry search. What some companies do, because sometimes the land registry, the mortgage period to register the mortgage can be quite long. So depending when the mortgage is registered, they can really do what we call a caveat. So a caveat is saying that, okay, this person, this party has gotten a loan from this bank and for this amount, and so they'll put a caveat on that title. So once you do a search, you will see the caveat or you see the legal mortgage. So that's what that's how you would know if a property has a mortgage on it. However, so it's a sad reality that many things do happen in the country, and people are clever every day. So there are instances where, for example, somebody can indeed get a mortgage from a bank, but sometimes the bank may, for either knowingly or unknowingly, legal department may not register it against the property on time. So because, like I said, it takes a long time between when you enter the legal mortgage and when it reflects at the legal mortgage on your property document. So that's why most proactive banks do a caveat. Caveat is in roughly a month you can get a caveat done. But a legal mortgage can take 6 months, sometimes it can take up to a year before legal mortgage appears. So that's why it's good to just do a caveat. Most banks do a caveat first, depending when the legal mortgage process is completed. So because that in between period, the person, for example, and there was the practical case that we had where the person did a mortgage with his interest, with his property, and then before he did the interest, he did a CTC of that of the CFO, showing that there was no interest on it, and then he now used it to get money from the bank. And then before the bank mortgage appeared on the property document, he wanted to sell the same property to somebody else. And then so it was within that, it was a very sad transaction. But so those are things that people do. And then it was saying that, oh, he's CFO, he misplaced the CFO, he can't find it. And this guy did a police report, he did a affidavit of loss of the CFO that used to get loan from the bank. So that's why most times when we advise banks, we tell them to do a caveat pending when the legal mortgage process is done, so that the person will not be smart by half. Another, there's even one that we had where the person did a legal mortgage and wanted to even sell the property. There was even one very recently, almost, I think it was either earlier this year or late last year. I think it was earlier this year. The person did use his property as a mortgage to secure a loan, and they wanted to sell the property to somebody else again. So we have to advise the bank to do a caveat first, pending when the legal mortgage comes out. So it's so like I said, the heart of man is wicked. We see plenty of things every day in property transaction, and so that's why one has to be careful. So, but once the legal mortgage process has been done, you will see it in the land registry against that CFO, that this CFO has been used to obtain a loan. And when the person paid up the loan, the bank will do what they call a deed of release to the land registry, saying that this person has paid up his mortgage, the land is now free for whatever use. So those are things that occurs when there's a mortgage on it. But within the period of them signing the contract and you and the transaction and it appearing, many things can happen in between. So that's why one has to be very careful. So that's a good question. On Gazette, once the government issues a Gazette, what happens is the Gazette is a official government record stating what the government has done. And so the Gazette will tell you how many hectares was gazetted. And also at the surveillance's office, you would see the Gazette there. They'll tell you so excision has been gazetted, the Gazette number will be there, and then it's safe to buy. But the sad reality is that most families, they do a number of things. One is that family can sell beyond what they are being given in Gazette. So the government can gazette 50 acres for this family. They can sell 150 acres to somebody else. So meaning 50 acres of their gazetted land, and then another 100 acres that is not gazetted, but still within their own land or within their village. They can use that. Secondly, can sell a different land that is. So for example, they can say, okay, we have Lausa excision. Lausa excision can just cover 50 acres in Lausa. They will now tell you a land within Lausa was outside the Gazette. They do that also. Or they can tell you half within the Gazette. There was one that we did a search on where the person only gave them 6 plots. They were buying about either 20 or so acres. The person gave them 6 plots within the Gazette. The remaining was outside the Gazette. But when you were to go and pick, they knew where was illegal. They would tell them, okay, pick this point, pick that point. They're telling them to pick points within the Gazette. We're telling that no, we'll pick around. And we found out that there was only a small portion that was within the Gazette, and the large part of the land was outside the Gazette. So even when you're doing a Gazette, yes, it's a good idea to buy, but be careful because people do a lot of things in the countries. It's a sad reality, but that's why I always say get professionals. You learn every day. The people do new tricks every day, new things every day. And so things that may appear straightforward before, sadly, may not be as straightforward as one thing when you now deal with people on the ground in reality. So that's why get a professional to know. But guys, that is a good title to learn, but be careful of the family you are dealing with in relation to Gazette. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. So we'll just take one or two more before we go. And still on the Gazette issue. Earlier in this conversation, I mentioned something about us having to double check, right? That's because of what you just mentioned. Because we've seen cases where the land of the developer extends beyond the excision, right? So if you do a check before, you can see that, oh, the excision is valid. But on allocation, people can be allocated outside the gazettes. So if you don't check, you won't know. Yeah, right. So
yeah, so I see Eberi's hand has been up for a while. Eberi,
yeah.
you want to ask a question? Iberi, are you there? If she's not there, we can ask. We can tell. Okay, I think she's back. Oh, you are muted, please.
Is it up now?
Okay. Yes, I can. We can hear you now.
Okay, I'm asking, if a land has a freehold, is it good to purchase in that place?
Yes. If the land has a freehold, that's a very good land to purchase. And just talk about what a freehold means is that so those are land that were owned by traditional landowning families before the land itself came into being. So their rights is recognized by the law, and that's a good land to buy. Once you buy a freehold land, you can go ahead and do your C of O in your own name. So that's a very good land to buy. But like I said, there are many lands that will say they are freehold, but they are not freehold. So that's why you need to do a check to be sure. But if you do your check and it reviews that the land is freehold, then it's a good land to buy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I see Olada Polanewaju.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yes,
it has been a very interesting session. Thank you also, Awele, for conducting this. I really appreciate it. Just wanted to ask, if I want to sell, I already have a deed of assignment. That's the document I have, is within an estate. Can I use that to sell to someone? Is that enough like to transfer based on you already signed the deed of assignment? Can I use that to sell to someone else? Thank you.
So there are a number of things there. Yes and no. So what is that? So it depends on a number of factors. So one is, I'm taking the best case scenario, the estate as a CFO, the estate gave you a deed of assignment. So the technical language of what you have is what we call an equitable interest in that property. So until you do your governor's consent on that deed of assignment, that's when you have a legal interest that you can now sell to somebody. So the person will just do a consent between you and himself. So yes, you can do a deed of assignment, but you also have to do your consent on that deed, then you cannot use that to sell. So that's a smooth or straightforward way in that to answer that question. But the fact or the reality cannot give us a different scenario, then that will not determine how best we are going to advise. One that I can just give you. So for example, yes, the company has a CFO, you have a deed with the company, you can validly sell with that. But what would advise is that you would not do another deed between the person that buys from you and the company, so that the person will just use his own consent straight from the company, as opposed to having to do what we call a double consent. So those are the advice we can give based on the fact of the ground. But yes, you have an equitable interest, you can sell it, but because you don't have a legal interest yet, validly that transaction would have some other things that has to be done. So that's the best I can advise.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, can you clarify more on that equitable interest? What you are?
I think clearly.
Can you clarify more?
What it just means is that yes, you are the owner, but you are not fully the owner. That's just what it means in simple language. So yes, you have a deed of assignment with the company, the land is yours. But until the governor assigns to that transaction, so yes, you are the owner, but if they check the government record, because I've already done your consent, they will see the former owner's name on that property. So yes, you have a deed of assignment in your wardrobe or in your house, but because the government is not aware of that transaction, if they do a search, they will see the person that sold to you there. So you have to just an equitable interest, you don't have a legal interest. Until when they do a search and they see your name there, you now have a legal interest, then you can sell without any issues. So that is what it means.
Very clear now.
It is very clear now. Fantastic. Yeah. I think the other two we've answered the question. Abdul Rahman Ibrahim and Abdulhamid Adekunle. I think we've answered one of them's question. So you have answered the question, you can just ask so that we can go to the chat box.
Yes, we have. So if you can just take one person that hasn't ask a
Okay, we can
question
hear
before and then
Abdul
we
Hamid. I think
close.
we not ask Abdul Hamid.
So,
Abdul
can you,
Hamid Adekunle.
thank you, can you hear me?
Okay.
So my question is on the court case.
Yeah, yeah,
How
please
do
go ahead.
you know whether there's a court case? That's it.
Yes. So like I said, the best way to know is to contact a lawyer to do what we call a court registry search. That's the best way, so that you know that the person will do a search and registry because that property does not have any interest. Before, Lagos State government had a much easier way to search. They had a site called the Lagos State Spendings, but now it's not been updated for a while. So Lagos State Judiciary has a platform where you can search, but you need to understand how to navigate the platform well to get good results. So that's why it's best to get a lawyer who would help you do the search to be sure that there are no issues on that property, and you can now validly and legally buy. Yeah. Okay. I think we've answered my question. Edward Mata is asking, how do you know in time to tell the bank to file a caveat? Honestly, you cannot know. So that's why the legal department of banks have to be very up to their tax. So, but what you can know is that when the owner is telling you that, hey, I have CFO, but I can't find it, my CFO is lost, then so you know that something may be wrong somewhere. Because if person has a CFO, it can present his CFO to you. But like I said, things are happening in Lagos every day. Yeah, so there are people, for example, the original CFO, you see the property, the original CFO, they gave to the bank to lodge it. The person cannot clone his own CFO again. So if you do a search on that clone CFO, because the bank has not yet lodged it, it will not show anything. So I don't want to say there's a whole lot, because we say a lot in practice. I know that people are cornea every day. So that's why it's you have to just that's why most times you allow for more time. With time, some things will get clearer, and then so that's why don't rush any transaction. Do your search very well. Make sure everything is done well. Ask questions, do finding. Sometimes we have most of us as like Nigeria is the second most prayerful country. So you can also go spiritual, pray. Ask so that you can some things that may on the paper may be clear. You may see some things that is not that you may not know on your search, because many things happen within the time between when the person signed the mortgage and then when the bank and reflects in the bank registry. Within that period, anything can happen. People can be very cunning in how they do things, as it were. So the main thing that has happened that I've been aware of, that I know that land scams it happens every day. There are times when people use people's signature to get consent on the land that's not theirs and all that. So Nigeria is a blessed country. So just do your search very well, get professionals, and pray. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so please, can we take this as the last question? So we have Joseph Onoja Sunday. So he said he bought land from someone with a family receipt and a payment receipt, right? So he's asking who should he get the deed of assignment from? The seller or the family?
Yeah, so both is what I would say. So the best is, like I said, so many facts may not. Oh, sorry, many based on just what the facts you are giving me, I'll just give it like often called general advice until I meet with the parties and show the document. Then I will give you an advice for you specifically. But in this transaction, so first is the person has the receipt and a survey from the family. Like I always say, under freehold or under the land, the government only recognizes the family as the owner of the land. The person that just receipt and survey doesn't, because I don't on his own consent or his own CFO in his own name. If you check the records, what you see is a freehold land belonging to the family. This family that can give you a deed that you can now use to get your own CFO or whatever that you want it. So that's why it's key to, it's that why the person you will need to get will be from the family. However, it's also good for you, since based on the receipts you have, the person that you paid to is the person that bought from the family. So you also have a deal with the person, so that in case issues happen, you can always say, yes, I bought this land from you. This is my document. So you have to get from both to just cover all sides. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we've pretty much answered a good number of the questions. What I can do is, if there are more questions, we can put it on the chat box of the WhatsApp group for this program, so we can always just answer as I see them, and then so that we are all guided and we don't make mistakes. Because let's say most people is their largest single investment in their lifetime, and once things go wrong, is often very not palatable. We've seen people sadly commit suicide after losing a property and all that. So please, let's be careful, be prayerful, and then that God will be with us all. Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Awele, for the opportunity. Thank you all for joining and for staying till this time, since 10 a.m. till now,
Yeah.
almost 1. I really appreciate everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to our amazing speakers. And yeah, it's been an amazing time. I'm sure you all have gained value. So please give us, let's know in the comment section and on the group, give us your feedback. Were you able to gain value? What did you learn? Let us know. Let us know how we did. We'd like to hear your feedback, right? And yes, this call was recorded and we'll share it to your emails and on the WhatsApp group. And other, subsequent information, we'll also add it. We'll also send it to the WhatsApp group. So if you're not on the group, please join. Yes, the link will be posted again. So please join. And going forward, like I said, at our company, Basic Investment, we are a real estate brokerage, right? And we use the help of a property lawyer and surveyor. The speaker is taught today. We work with them in order to verify our property. So if you want to get access to property verification services, we can help you with that. If you want to get properties that have been verified right before purchase, you can get access to that through us as well. And general advice on investment, we can also help you with that. So please use the contact information that we shared on the comment section and in the WhatsApp group, and then we will be able to assist you, further. Right. So I want to thank you all once again for joining, and we hope to host you in another webinar in the future. All right. So thank you all. Thank you so much. We'll be ending this webinar now, and we'll definitely get in play.